All right, everyone, this video is going to be about LinkedIn and how we use it for the co-op job search. So, why have a LinkedIn profile anyways? Well, according to Forbes.com, 35% of those who have a LinkedIn account use it on a daily basis. That's a lot of potential employers out there looking to grow their professional network. But the most profound thing is that 94% of recruiters use LinkedIn as a source to vet candidates. But that means if only 35% of us are using it, that's a lot of job seekers that are just missing out on something really vital. Consider this quote from Alan Henry, who's the editor at lifehacker.com. I came across one candidate where the resume was chock full of buzzwords and I had all but written the person off. But their LinkedIn profile had a wealth of interesting and personal information about their accomplishments as well as endorsements from previous supervisors and colleagues. It actually made me reconsider the candidate in a lot of ways. What you should take from this is that LinkedIn allows you to be more interesting than your resume, to list a lot more accomplishments of the things that you're super proud of, and use endorsements or recommendations from previous supervisors and colleagues to actually help you get jobs where your resume can't do that. Well, but don't take my word for it. Let's check out this video that LinkedIn created just for college students.
If you're watching this, chances are good you want to get a job. You want to go from student to rising star, and you want to avoid eating the same meal over and over and over again. Good news, you're in the right place. That's right, LinkedIn. It's not just for top executives, it's not just for old people with heavy briefcases. It's for you, and it's the perfect place for you to start your professional story. Say you want to get a job in New York City. You've never been there before, but that's okay because you have LinkedIn on your side. You start by creating your profile. You give it love because you know it's what recruiters are looking for day and night. It's your resume that never sleeps. It's your flashing neon sign that says, hire me, for the love of all that is good in this world, hire me. Then you start making connections. Alumni working in New York? Yes. Recruiters at top companies in New York? Yes. Your mom's best friend? Yes. You start imagining whose shoes you want to walk in. You think, wow, this is a lot of deep stuff to consider. You shake yourself out of it and start searching for jobs. Whoa, that's a lot of jobs for students. Time to get down to business. You start to tailor your profile. You start applying. You feel empowered, in control, like you should be CEO. That gives you an idea. You look up all the CEOs of all the companies you want to work at. You see one of them went to your university. Then it hits you. You see a clear path from campus to career. You feel like you can see the future. You wonder if you're psychic. Should you start a hotline? No, back to plan A. You keep tailoring and connecting and applying, and before you know it, you start getting responses. First a few, then more, then an interview, and then you're hired. And that's when the real learning begins.
So look, folks, LinkedIn is this great resource for you to help build your professional network and get yourself out there for job seeking. But really, it's not an online resume. It really shouldn't be used to just regurgitate what you would put on your resume. There's a lot of really cool things that you can do with LinkedIn that you can't do with the resume. It can be your portfolio where you list a lot of your projects, a lot of the things that you've worked on in classes and in your personal life. You can also use it for personal and professional goals. It really should enhance your resume and not be exactly the same. It can tell the story of your career in a much more personal and much more profound way. So what are the basic elements of a LinkedIn profile? Well, here's another video from LinkedIn just for college students.
Here's how to make your profile great. Number 1, pick a professional picture. Not just any picture. No, not that one. More like these. Yes, that's the one. Number 2, write a good headline. Just tell us who you are and what you want to do in 120 characters or less. Yeah, like that. Remember, nothing too personal, nothing too clever. Number 3, tell us about your education. What's your major? What classes did you take? What skills did you develop? C++? Art history? Portuguese history? Quantum thermodynamics? Yes, put those. Number 4, list your experience. Give us your organizations, your achievements, your honors. President of the International Club? Yes. Volunteered building houses? Yes. Invented a cat toy? Yeah, sure, that counts. Number 5, get recommendations. Prove you've got what it takes. Get managers, mentors, and professors to post something that says, this person is smart, hardworking, good-natured, and well-rounded, or something like that. And then you're done. You shout, this is me! You do a celebration dance. You feel good. You stand out. You know you're on your way because there are jobs to be found and recruiters looking to find you as you watch this. That's right now, this very second. What are you waiting for? Go. Find, be found.
All right, so let's recap some of those main points. This is a LinkedIn document that I took from their website, and I kind of just chunked it here for you. Let's start with the photo. The photo, like they say, it doesn't have to be anything too fancy. You can use your cell phone camera if you have one. But what you're really looking for is a photo that isn't blurry at all. It doesn't have a distracting background. There aren't any other people or animals in the photo. And really, you want to be looking straight on at the camera. Your eyes need to be forward. Don't try to get too artistic with your photo. Your headline is the next most important piece. You want to tell people, as it says here, what you're excited about and cool things that you want to do in the future. But this is the new objective statement that resumes used to have. This is your opportunity to say what you're really looking for in your job search. You can list your skills here, be really brief because I think you only get about 200 characters. And you can add a desired outcome for people seeking your profile. So you can say things like seeking a job or a co-op in engineering to do X, Y, and Z, or something to that effect. There are some really great examples that you could probably Google and find out what's a really good headline to put in. And Google and LinkedIn will actually provide you some options as well. The next thing you want to do is write up your summary. Your summary is a section that really is designed to enhance your career and professional aspirations. This is where you tell your story. Again, it's a small section, but it's big enough to really kind of paint a picture of who you are. This is a searchable category, so use keywords that will help the reader get a sense of who you are, what you do, and what you know. But since it's searchable and they can search for it using LinkedIn and Google, make sure that they're using keywords that will that will get people to focus on that based on the industry that you're trying to go to. This is a great place to list more technical skills, and it's a space and an opportunity to write more informally and less resume-like. Make it a personal sort of experience so you can connect with the reader. It's also good to list what kinds of jobs you might be looking for. So if you want to focus in the automotive industry, for example, or in space exploration, you might want to put that here. These are the essential elements of your LinkedIn profile, and if you can get the photo, the headline, and the summary just right, then you're really doing very well. Some other pieces you'll want to consider are your experience. This is the resume-like stuff. You're going to list all the jobs that you've held, and it doesn't matter if they were part-time or if they were, seasonal things. This is where that goes there, and you can even fill in stuff from your resume. That's okay. You can, of course, be a little bit more creative in this section. As you can see from the document in front of you, you can add images and presentations or videos as well if you have something like that from a job that you've had in the past. Another thing you can do is add organizations. You can join organizations, different clubs that you're a part of, and list them here and the time that you've done them. So that's your leadership and activity section from your resume, and that's what goes there. Of course, there's the education section, and that's pretty important. You're going to want to start with the college at the top, just like your resume, and then work down from there. You have volunteer experience and different causes that you're excited about. What's neat about LinkedIn is you not only can list volunteer experiences that you've actually done, but also causes that you're passionate about that maybe you don't necessarily work in directly, but that gives the reader, the person who's looking at your profile, a good picture of what you're interested in beyond your education, beyond some of the jobs that you've had. LinkedIn also has a skills and expertise section where you can you can list different skills that you have, and then others who are in your network can promote you or endorse you for those skills. So that's a really neat sort of section to do as well. Honors and awards section, if you've earned any of those, and a lot of students in our programs have, so you want to put that on there. And then you can list courses that you've taken. This is a great way to list the different courses that you've had that are industry specific and some of the things or projects that you might have worked on through those courses. And finally, this project section, which I think is one of the most important pieces, is where you can talk about different things you've created, whether that was something specific for a job that you had, or if it was just something that you've done on your own. In computer engineering, I know a lot of my students, they like to talk about the computer builds that they've done, the specs on the different computers that they've created, and this would be a great place for those types of things. And then lastly, there's a recommendation section where you can ask others to recommend you for different jobs, and this is where that would go. So these are the basic elements of a LinkedIn profile. So let's talk about some strategies to maximize your LinkedIn profile. First thing you want to do is you want to join some groups. Think of groups in three general categories. You want to join some industry related groups that are specific to the academic and professional career aspirations that you have. You're going to want to join your alumni and school network. So the University of Cincinnati has a network itself, a group for that. You also have alumni in the College of Engineering, and so you can join that as well. You don't have to have been an alumni already to be a part of that group. So go ahead and join that group now, and that way you can already be a part of those discussions and a part of those groups and create those connections. And then you can join any interest areas that you might have as well. There are other ways to join different types of groups. You can join, other companies and things like that that you might have worked for in the past. But really, these are the three areas that I want you to focus on. Then I want you to share something that's interesting. Look at different articles that you might have found on, browsing through the internet and post them on your LinkedIn profile. Not just on your Facebook or your Twitter, but use your LinkedIn to do the similar sort of stuff. Make those, though, professional and related to your field, and so that way they're directly applicable. You're trying to create a story that shows that you're connected to the industry, and that when someone looks at your profile, they'll see that you've done that. So articles, podcasts, different infographics that you think are interesting, go ahead and start putting those there. Again, I want you to ask connections to recommend you for future jobs. Start with UC faculty and staff. You can talk to your faculty from your courses, the staff that work in the buildings that you live in, or the student services that you utilize. You can even ask your co-op faculty member for recommendations if you want to do that as well. If they know you well enough, you can certainly do that. Former and current employers. Former and current employers are really important, especially since recommendations will be tied to the different jobs that you've had. And then in high school, your teachers, your staff, and the coaches that were there, see if they will also give you some recommendations on LinkedIn. And lastly, I would include your email in your summary. That way potential employers, they don't need to use the paid premium features in order to contact you outside of LinkedIn. So what are your LinkedIn tasks? What are the things I want you to do? First, I want you to create your profile if you haven't already done that. Then edit your profile to include a good photo, a snappy headline, and a summary that really is personal and gets to the point of what you're trying to find. And then update all that other stuff. Then I want you to join some groups, share something interesting, and get recommendations from people in your past. Then I want you to visit students.linkedin.com for all sorts of other ways to search for jobs, look at alumni networks, and find out how you might be connected to specific companies. So let's do that now. This is students.linkedin.com. These are the actually the two videos that you saw in this presentation. They're right here. They have a slide share presentation here on how to stand out from the competition as well. And then this is where you can go to search for jobs. If you want to see more tips on how to really get your LinkedIn profile to be really great, you can also visit this page here and look at some videos, and they have some quick sheets that you can also look at. This is where I got that profile checklist as well. Searching for jobs is really easy for students, and they really tailor it to college student experiences, so that's something to keep in mind. You can come down here and you can search by location if there's a city that you're interested in. You can search by function. Engineering is listed here if that's where you want to start. And you can also search by industry, so say automotive or computer software if that's the areas in which you want to do. We're just going to stick with searching for all student jobs. This is the page that comes up and is kind of a landing page for that, and you're going to want to click here and find the function that you're interested in, and engineering is what we'll do here. Then it lists about 100,000 results for jobs in engineering function that are entry level and internship. Well, entry level is not really going to help us for searching for co-op, so I just go ahead and remove that. Drops that from 100,000 to 5,000 is a much more manageable number. Of course, then I can further refine those search criteria to the different places I want to be. So the United States would further drop that to 3,500, and etc. If I wanted to study abroad or co-op abroad, I can certainly look at opportunities there as well. I can also search by specific companies if there's a company that I'm interested in. They'll do the most popular ones here that have the most jobs, but you can certainly add your own as well. So you have a lot of options that you can search through when you're looking for different internships in the engineering field. And let's take a look at this one because it's a great example because it's here in Cincinnati. It's Duke Energy, of course. And we can click on that and we can see a bunch of different things. Obviously, the job description listing the specific requirements. Now, of course, the job description is going to be different depending on what the company posts. They're going to have a profile here. It's also going to list similar jobs, but this is a dangerous section to look in because sometimes they'll not always list co-op jobs. It'll sometimes be actual full-time gigs. So you want to be careful of what you're clicking on down here. But this is also a great way to kind of browse around different opportunities that might be similar to something you found that's interesting. This will also show you what other people have viewed when they looked at this, and so this is actually, I think, a lot better tailored to the different co-op and internship jobs that you might be interested in because it's related to this one because other people have done that. So some other things you might want to consider when you're browsing on LinkedIn is your alumni network. Of course, this is St. Louis University because that's where I went to school. This is my profile. What it does is it lists how many people are on LinkedIn that have claimed St. Louis University as a university that they attended. And it lists people who are either in your network or people who can be in your network and what they're doing now. And so you can connect with them if you have not already done so. This is really neat. It shows you where the people in your alumni network have lived, where they're working, and what they're doing, what their fields are. You can certainly click here and change different universities. You can see the 3 universities I attended, and then it also shows similar universities, and you can certainly browse by name as well. But when you list that you are part of the University of Cincinnati, it'll automatically populate here for you. What's neat about this is you can click on Notables, and it'll tell you who are some of the most notable alumni from your network. And for example, you can see Maxine Clark here, obviously went to St. Louis University. She has, in addition to many other degrees, she's an honorary Doctor of Laws there, but she's also the founder of Build-A-Bear, and you can see that this second means that I am a second degree connection to her. I'm not directly connected to her on LinkedIn, but I know someone who knows her. In fact, I know 8 people who know her, and that way if I wanted to work for Build-A-Bear and do some really neat things with them, I could contact any one of these people to get me an introduction to Maxine and hopefully land that job. So another feature of LinkedIn is being able to search for companies that you might be interested in. And so for example, let's search for a company called Jive Software. Perhaps that's somewhere where you might want to co-op someday. You can see that the first result is Jive Software, the company. It's a computer software company based in San Francisco. They have about 500 to 1,000 employees. But more importantly, there are 3 people in my network who are connected in some way to Jive Software. And so if I click on the company, it brings me their profile. What's great about this page is that it shows me different information about the company, about what they're doing, some interesting things they might be doing online. In this case, they're talking about different folks that work there and some of the projects that they're working on and things like that. But what's really great is that it shows me how I'm connected to the people that work there. And so, for example, this gentleman, Christopher Maurice, he is the Chief Strategy Officer at Jive, and I am a second degree connection, meaning I know somebody who knows that person. Same thing with Ben Oberkfell here, who's a Senior Software Engineer, and Tony Zingale, who's the Executive Chairman at Jive Software. So he's a pretty important guy. And so, curious as to who I know, and that's Kettle Cederkrutz, who is, in fact, the Associate Provost at the University of Cincinnati. He's actually my supervisor. And so that's how neat this LinkedIn program is that if you're interested now in this company and you see that you are connected to me on LinkedIn and I'm connected to Kettle, who's connected to this gentleman here, who is the executive chairman, I can ask Kettle to make an introduction so that I can be connected to Tony, and then hopefully I can connect him to you, and you can perhaps get an interview with that company. That's why these types of things and the connections that you can do with LinkedIn is pretty great. The other things you can do on here is you can also see what other companies people have viewed when they view this company. So it can give you an idea of other companies that are similar to this one that you might want to work in. Other things that you'll see is that if you're interested in Jive Software and you're interested in learning more about the company, you can click here, but you can also look at the different jobs that they've posted here on LinkedIn and to see if you qualify for any of those jobs. Of course, in this case, there are no internships or co-op positions, but that's generally how this type of thing works. Okay, so go out there, create your LinkedIn profile, and start searching for jobs.